Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. We're going to be focusing on a mathematics topic, which is all to do with pie charts and angles. So when we're looking at pie charts and angles, these two things are always going to be really closely related because we need to be able to understand the relationship between a circle, which is used to represent a pie chart, and the different sorts of angles we might find within it. So just to start us off, to get your brains working, what I'd like you to do is pause the video for 1 minute and write down as many bits of knowledge as you think you might need to know in order to understand this pie chart and to answer any associated questions. Alright, hopefully you've now unpaused the video, so let's have a look at the knowledge that I thought I might need. So I thought that I might need to understand the number of degrees there are in a full circle. I know that that is 360 degrees. I can also see that I can recognise some different types of angles in here. So I've got some acute angles, I've got some obtuse angles, and I've also got a right angle here. So I've noted down that that involves 90 degrees. I might also need to understand the relationship between the degrees that we've got within the pie chart and the number of pupils that we're looking at. There's a few different ways we could think about this. We might think about it in terms of a fraction. So for instance, 90 degrees for the right angle, written as a fraction out of 360 degrees, if we simplify that down, that becomes the equivalent of 1/4. Or we could think about it in terms of the ratio of the amount of degrees representing a certain amount of pupils. So for instance, I know that the pie chart is talking about 90 pupils in total. So I can think of this as a ratio of 360 degrees to 90 pupils as a result. And we can start working out various amounts from there. So, as an example, I might find that, here's my pen, if I've got, for instance, 90 degrees for the TV, well, I might think 90 goes into 360, or 9 into 36, 4 times. So if I want to know how many pupils that would represent, I would do 90 divided by 4 using my knowledge of inverses, going in the other direction. So in other words, what is 1/4 of 90? Well, I know that half of 90 is 45, and then I can do half of 45 is going to be roughly, well, half of 40 is 20, half of 5 is 2.5, so I'd be looking at 22.5 pupils, like so. Okay, so while I might not have necessarily needed to do all of these workings out initially, it's really useful to be able to understand how all of these different pieces of information link to each other. With that in mind, let's have a look at some of the sample questions that we might get for a pie chart like this. So I've got question A is asking me how many pupils were doing homework, and question B says that 10 pupils went to the youth club, so I need to work out what the size of the angle is for that particular sector of the chart. So I know that I'm looking at the section for homework here, and I know that I'm looking at the section for the youth club here with these two angles associated. So rather than me telling you exactly how to work this out initially, what I would like you all to do is pause this video, use the rucksack method in order to help you solve these questions as best as you can. When you've done everything you can, unpause the video and I'll talk you through my particular workings. There are a few different ways that you could possibly solve these questions, so my workings out might not match to yours, but as long as we end up with the same answer at the end, that's the most important thing. So please pause the video now and then we'll look at my workings. Okay, hopefully you've now unpaused the video, so let's have a look at my workings here. Now, before I explain this to you, have a quick look at this and have a think about why I might have written down my workings in this way. So let's start with my thought process for question A here. I know that for question A, I need to work out the number of pupils that are doing homework. So I found the section of homework here, which represents or is represented by 60 degrees within this pie chart. I also note that the total number of pupils involved is the 90 Year 7 pupils. So I'm going to think about this degree here for the homework as a proportion out of 360. Another way of writing a proportion is to basically say this is a fraction. So 60 out of 360 degrees, well, I can simplify that down to 60 out of 36 degrees. And I can then say, well, I know that 6 and 36 are both divisible by 6. They're both in the 6 times table. So my simplified fraction here, after doing my divided by 6, is going to get me to 1/6. So if I know that this 60 degrees is the equivalent of 1/6 of my pie chart, I then also know that this must be the same as 1/6 of those 90 pupils. So I'm going to do 90 divided by 6 in order to get my answer. Well, if I do this as a really quick bus stop method here, I know that 6 goes into 9 one time, and there's a remainder of 3. As I know that 6 goes into 30 5 times. So the answer for this question must be that 15 pupils were doing their homework last night. Have a go at the same thing. Have a think about section B and consider why it was that I might have written out these particular workings before I do my explanation. So I'm going to use a really similar strategy here. So looking at the youth club, which is this particular angle here, I know that 10 pupils went to the youth club, and I need to use this to work out what the size of the angle is. So once again, I'm going to think about this as a proportion or as a fraction of the whole number of students, this 90. So 10 out of the 90 students is the same if I simplify this down by dividing by 10 as 1/9 of the students. I also know that the 90 pupils in the circle as a whole would be the same as 360 degrees within my circle. As a result, if I find 1/9 of 360, or in other words, do 360 divided by 9, then I know I'm going to be able to get the answer. There's a few ways we could do this. We could do it bus stop method, or I could use my knowledge of times tables to help me out. So for instance, I know that 9's into 36. Well, there's 9, 18, 27, 36. So that would be 4. If I multiply my answer back up by 10, at the end, I'm going to get 40 as a result. So this section of the pie chart, where I've got 10 pupils, would be represented by 40 degrees as a result. There are a few different other ways we could solve this. For instance, you might have used ratio if you're feeling confident with that. You might have worked out how many degrees are represented by one pupil and then multiplied it up. There's a few other methods as well. If you want, you can also comment on the video and tell me what different methods you used in order to reach these answers if you got the same answers through a different result. Thank you very much for watching this video. You've worked really well there, and I hope this has been really helpful for you when it comes to applying this knowledge to problem solving. I'll speak to you again soon. Bye!